right to the point. The United States of America is about to come under the divine chastisement of God.
It's not a game, not even a war. Beyond rain, beyond storm, beyond Katrina. You ain't never seen a natural disaster with a meaner demeanor. Beyond danger, when it lies anger, you'll never witness nothing stranger. To see a change, permanently rearrange back to where you came from. Oh, you don't get it? Oh, you the fittest. It don't matter. Anybody can get it. Everybody gon' feel it. From hell to the ceiling. Whole states wiped out, killing by the million. What happened to the buildings and all these children? Don't get mad, it's God doing the killing. Weapons of mass destruction, no power. You can't prepare for the shock of the hour.
The hour here represents war.
No one can make an intelligent decision without being properly informed. This is why this world wants to control the media. This is why media hype can take you up, take you down. So you don't know anymore who's really good, because the media can make a wicked man look good and make a good man look evil. That is why.
I can't quit. I'm like Saddam, keeping my eye on Clinton, watching each movie make. Cause every slither he takes sort of remind.
Good evening, everybody. Peace. Hotep. Free the land. Assalamu alaikum. You are watching a very, very special edition of the Final Call News Hour, and I am your host, Herman Muhammad. The Final Call News Hour is the partner of the Final Call Online Edition and the Final Call newspaper. You can get the Final Call Online Edition digitally by going to finalcalldigital.com. And we encourage you to go and subscribe to the world famous Final Call newspaper. Again, my name is Brother Herman Muhammad, and you're watching a special edition of the Final Call News Hour, which is, of course, like I said, the partner of the Final Call newspaper. And the Final Call newspaper is the most widely circulated, Black-owned and operated publication in the world, and also serves as the communications organ for the Nation of Islam. The Final Call newspaper is the biggest, baddest, blackest, boldest newspaper on the planet. News that you could use. You should subscribe. You should read it. You should pick it up anytime you see a mighty, mighty FOI out there on the streets of Denver or whatever city you live in. Again, my name is Brother Herman Muhammad, and I got my suit and my tie on. And I just got through out there on the streets. This is real. Distributing the Final Call newspaper. So I wanted to come in and stop in and ask the question: are Black voices being censored by social media platforms? Are Black voices being censored by social media platforms? And this is just something I want you to think about, right? Wa alaikum salam, Ms. V. Good to see you, sister. Good to see you. Because this current edition of the Final Call, food shortages, COVID-19, and fears of a major crisis. The coronavirus pandemic is disrupting food supply chains, hurting multiple food industries. There are worries the pestilence could impact the ability of Americans to eat. And of course, you got full coverage that begins on page 2 of this particular issue of the Final Call newspaper, which of course I encourage you to get. from one of your brothers, or go to, like I said, finalcalldigital.com. But I wanted to talk about this, man, because I did a show, and last week, and we talked about this issue a little bit. We talked about the COVID-19 pandemic. We talked about George Floyd and the case against his murderer, Mr. Derek Chauvin, former police officer. And the response was very interesting, man. The response was very interesting. Because for one, and I have to say this, I started out the show talking about our brother, George Floyd. And we talked about injustice yesterday, no justice today. And my feeling on the subject was that in terms of George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, that it looked like what was going to happen was that they were going to convict this guy, Derek Chauvin, because the evidence suggests that he's guilty, and he has everyone in the world coming out against him, including the police department itself, right? They fired him, and it just doesn't seem as though an acquittal is likely. Of course, I could be wrong. But I was saying that if, in fact, the jury did acquit, that America would be in trouble, and that she would burn, and that it would be a burning that was well deserved, right? So the next thing I talked about, and I can't say it that loud, was COVID-19. And I'm asking, are Black voices being censored by social media platforms because everything went well on Facebook for the most part, but once I uploaded my video, which I only, you know what I'm saying, I'm not a huge social media influencer, but once I uploaded my video to YouTube, after a few comments, after it was getting some traction, it was pulled off. The video was pulled off, and they sent me a notice. And one of my viewers, one of my brothers, he called me and said, "Hey man, your video just got yanked off of YouTube. I guess they didn't like what you were saying." And so I'm like, damn. And what they accused me of disseminating, they accused me of disseminating medical misinformation. If y'all coming into the room, man, give me a thumbs up. Give me a hi, how you doing, Brother Herman? Or whatever. Thumbs up, thumbs down, hearts, you know, just making sure that we're engaged. So they removed the video and they accused me of giving medical misinformation about the COVID-19 vaccine, which of course I didn't do. I didn't give any medical misinformation. I gave very accurate information, most of it which came from the FDA's website. And what I was saying on that last video that they pulled off of YouTube and flagged my account was that this so-called COVID-19 vaccine is an experimental vaccine. And I simply stated out the fact that the COVID-19 vaccine, whether it be from Moderna or whether it be from Pfizer, is not fully FDA approved, that it's only approved for emergency use. It was the Emergency Use Authorization Act that they used to produce this vaccine and to disseminate it and distribute it to the public. These are all facts. And so if a drug or a vaccine is not fully approved by the FDA, which takes 5 to 10 years, sometimes even longer, then that drug or that vaccine, is experimental. That's just a fact. And so as a result, if you take that drug, that experimental drug or that experimental vaccine, and I'm not going to be long, then you're part of the experiment. And when you go and get your shot, if you go and get your shot, people are going to give you a little card that says that the drug company, whoever produced it, whether it be Moderna or Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, they've been having too many problems with that one. They're going to tell you that it is the responsibility of the pharmaceutical company who gives you that particular vaccine to monitor you for the next at least 2 years. Why? Because it's an experiment. If you go to the pharmacy, if you go to Walgreens, or if you go to Rite Aid, if you go to, give me another one, CVS, and you buy some ibuprofen, or you buy some Tylenol, or you buy whatever, that drug that you buy, that you purchase from the CVS or the Rite Aid or the Walgreens has been FDA approved. You take it, and they're going to tell you on the back of the label that it may have some potential side effects, but you take it at your own discretion. But what's not going to happen is the company, the pharmaceutical company that made the drug, does not have to follow you, because the drug has already been proven safe and effective. So I'm telling you that with regards to the COVID-19 vaccine, they have not been proven safe and effective through rigorous FDA testing, even though they've undergone some FDA testing, but not full FDA testing, because enough time has not elapsed. So are Black voices being censored by social media platforms? Because like I said, man, I've been on social media platforms for at least 10 years. And like I said, I'm not a huge social media influencer or anything like that. However, my channel, once we started talking about the COVID-19 vaccine, I started getting fewer and fewer views, being shadow banned. Now, you might just say, Brother Herman, your content is just whack and don't nobody want to see it. And that might be true. You know what I'm saying? We deal with some very righteous information that everybody might not be, it might not excite you or whet your appetite to hear knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from the perspective of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan. However, my channel used to get a lot more views. But now, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, they have these algorithms, right, to where now they shadow ban you. They censor you without you even knowing, because they don't like what you're talking about. So, to give you evidence that it's not just me, that they're not just shadow banning Brother Herman, they didn't just pull down my video. They also banned my leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, from all of these social media platforms. And now, particularly on Instagram and other spaces, they're banning channels that disseminate videos of the minister. Hey, Sister Jessica, how you doing? Good to see you, Queen. Good to see you. So, they've banned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from social media. They banned recently my brother, Riza Islam, who's a brother out of Los Angeles, who's got very popular from his stance, particularly on the vaccines. So here's my thing. We could say, yes, ma'am, they banned him. They banned it, and the minister had over 1 million followers on Twitter. That's gone. Instagram, YouTube, gone. But they're banning voices that aren't expressing the narrative that they want to be spread with regard to the COVID-19 vaccine. Straight up banning. So, if this is a country where freedom of speech is valued, and I have to be honest, freedom of speech is cool in America as long as you watch what you say. But this is one of the foundational principles of this so-called free society, is that you have the freedom to say whatever it is that you want to say in the public domain. The question is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, are all these the public domain? And I can answer succinctly. They act as though they're the public domain, but they're absolutely not the public domain. These are all private corporations. So in truth, even though I don't like it, they can stop you from hearing whatever voices they want you not to hear. They could stop you from hearing those voices on their platforms. But the question is that representing the population of people that they say that they're serving or they're servicing? Because all of these platforms, social media, where all of us get to have a voice, fortunately, and all of us get to have a voice, unfortunately. All of these platforms, man, they're consuming or they're feeding off of each and every one of us, no matter what our voices are. But they're silencing, and you're right, Sister Jessica, you can't even say the word white. You can't say nothing about white people. It violates the terms of service, no matter how true what you say is. But they'll let us see Cardi B shake her ass all over the place. They'll let you watch, and this is a perfect example. They'll let you watch George Floyd being murdered on screen over and over and over and over again. Not just on social media, but on CNN, on NBC, on ABC. See, the reason why we came up with the Final Call News Hour, the reason why there is a Final Call newspaper and now Final Call Radio, which you should go and donate to right now. Go ahead, go to finalcall.com and donate to Final Call Radio. It's been a year. It's a year anniversary we're celebrating actually today. And so we're trying to raise funds to keep this beautiful station on, right? But as I was saying, they let you watch that murder of our brother George Floyd over and over and over and over and over again. Because they want you to see that. They want you to be conditioned to seeing you die on television. They want you to be conditioned to see your sister shake her behind all on television. Bring a stripper pole to the Grammys. And you know, it's not, I ain't mad at her, you know what I'm saying? But if we come out and we say something negative or contrary to what the narrative is about the COVID-19 vaccine and about it being experimental, then they shadow ban your channel. They remove your videos, and they might remove this one. I don't know. But the other thing that I was saying, because they're motivating our people to get the vaccine through a number of different means, fear being one of them. But they're misinforming the people when they try to scare them into getting the vaccine. They're incentivizing it. In DC, they had a program, Jabs for Joints. You can get you some weed if you go and get your COVID-19 vaccine. In New Orleans, they was giving people who got the vaccine a free fish dinner. In Los Angeles, they were saying that you can get your welfare benefits faster, or even more welfare if you went and got your COVID-19 vaccine. Right on, Sister Jessica. And they will let you watch and talk about everything negative. Absolutely. So they're using these things. They're saying to they're paying King Soopers pharmacy employees to get the shot. Wow. I can't say I'm surprised. And they're doing that. So again, we raise the question, why would they try and pay black people, and not just black people, everybody to get this vaccine? What is the true agenda? We could speculate, but we could search the history and know that they have never in their history ever paid black people to take any sort of drug that was good for them. They've never given us any sort of drug that's been good for us, ever. So why are they so set on you taking it? That's a question. But then on top of that, what I was saying with it being experimental, they can't force you to take it. And so, you know, certain companies were talking about, if you want to cruise, you know, we're going to require that you have the vaccine. Or they were talking about certain airlines saying, if you want to fly with us, you have to be vaccinated, or anything of that nature. But the reality is they cannot force any of us to take the experimental vaccine, because it is an experimental drug. And there is a code that was authored in 1947 called the Nuremberg Code that prevents any government or any authority from forcing any human being to take an experimental drug. It's called the Nuremberg Code. And this is another thing that I said on that last video that they took down, right? So the Nuremberg Code, there's actually 10 points to it, but I'm gonna just give you the first one. The Nuremberg Code. Number one in the Nuremberg Code, and again, like I said, this was developed after the Nuremberg trials in 1947. The number one point, which there are 10, is the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. Anytime you're dealing with any sort of experimental drug or vaccine, the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. This means that the person involved should have legal capacity to give consent, should be so situated as to be able to exercise free power of choice without the intervention of any element of force, fraud, deceit, duress, overreaching, or other ulterior form of constraint or coercion, and should have sufficient knowledge and comprehension of the elements of the subject matter involved as to enable him to make an understanding and enlightened decision. This latter element requires that before the acceptance of an affirmative decision by the experimental subject, there should be made known to him the nature, duration, and purpose of the experiment, the method and means by which it is to be conducted, all inconveniences and hazards reasonably to be expected, and the effects upon his health or person which may possibly come from his participation in the experiment. The duty and responsibility for ascertaining the quality of the consent rests upon each individual who initiates, directs, or engages in the experiment. It is a personal duty and responsibility which may not be delegated to another with impunity. So, what that means, family, what that means is that if you take this experimental vaccine, you have to be made fully known. You have to be made fully aware of everything that accompanies it, or being part of this experiment. They're not using that language. They're not using that language that you're being experimented on. But I'm telling you that if you take an experimental medication or vaccine, then you're absolutely part of an experiment. And you could go, if you think I'm lying, go to the FDA's website. FDA, I think it's FDA.org. Go to the FDA's website and just look up the COVID-19 vaccine and whether or not it's fully approved or whether it's just approved for emergency use. And then look up the laws that govern experimental drugs and vaccines. And then come back, Google or YouTube or whoever wants to ban the video, and tell me where we're giving medical misinformation, because we absolutely are not. We're talking about our black voices being censored by social media platforms, and I would say succinctly, absolutely. Current edition of the Final Call is food shortages, COVID-19, and fears of a major crisis. Pick that up. Go to finalcalldigital.com and pick that up, fam. I'm not going to be long. I just wanted to ask that question, and I just wanted to make you all aware, because at the end of the day, these people can have whatever they want on their social media platforms. And we have the right to participate or not participate. We have the right to watch or not watch. We have the right to give them our information, which they already have, or not give them their information. And understand that that is what the main purpose of all of these social media platforms is to gain information, which we give them voluntarily. Understand, man, that the biggest currency, and I want you to think this over, the biggest currency in this world right now is not money. The dollar bill is not worth the paper that it is printed on. The biggest currency and what makes people the richest people in the world is their ability to obtain and access information. Real talk. Information is where it's at. Think about it. Who's the richest man in the world? If it's Bill Gates, it's because he has access to the most information. Even if it's Jeff Bezos, which has more money than Bill Gates, it's because of his access to information. Think it over now. It's because of his access to information. Because he has access to so much information, he's able to sell items to everyone. Google's in the information business. YouTube's in the information business. Google owns YouTube, by the way. Facebook is in the information business. Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook and Instagram. Twitter is in the information business. All of this is what they're after. And family, if you went and got the vaccine, you gave them some more information. Because now they have to monitor you. Whatever pharmaceutical company that produced the vaccine that you took has to monitor you for at least 2 years. I would say the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us that we're not to take the vaccine. We're not taking it. And you can go to, I would encourage you to go to NOI.org and watch our Savior's Day convention, particularly the session on the COVID-19 vaccine. Particularly the session on the COVID-19 vaccine. Let me read Sister Jessica's say, I'm glad you talked about this today. Oh, yeah. Yes, ma'am. And that was pitiful, Sister Jessica. That was pitiful. There's a war going on. There's a war going on. And a lot of, there's a war going on. And I can get into that. That's a whole nother subject. And I'm glad you mentioned that. The lady they arrested for knocking on the door. That voter suppression piece, because a part of it is voter suppression and the power that Black people, particularly Black women and Latino women, have in electing presidents and vice presidents, because it was the Black woman's vote and Black and brown people's votes who got your new president Joe Biden and your new Vice President Kamala Harris elected. And so they realized that. And so now the other side, the Republicans, are trying to suppress the vote in Atlanta and in other places. But I don't think that we should get deceived. We have to understand that whether they be Democrats, or Republicans, that neither one of them are on our side. That we really need to, if we're going to participate in this particular system, we need to bias a candidate, or we need to come up with third-party candidates that represent our interests and totally back them 1,000%. So yeah, it's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. But yeah, man, they're silencing Black voices. So you're not gonna. And here's my point too. If they're silencing voices with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic, what else are we not hearing? There's a lot of truth that we're missing. And they're trying to silence the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in particular because he's the voice of God on the scene today. And by removing him from social media, they thought that they had silenced him. But the reality is, if you're hearing my voice, or if you're hearing anyone who represents him, you're still hearing the voice of Farrakhan. You can never silence him. His word has gone too far and too wide to ever be silenced. But that's not going to stop him. But here's what we need to do. We need to strategize on getting our own platforms where we can hear our own voices. And the nation has a platform. It's not like YouTube in that everybody's not on it, but it's a platform where our voices can be heard. It's called NFA. NFA, that stands for Never Fall Again. It's called NFAstudios.com and NFAstudios.com. And you can see content put out by the Nation of Islam and other positive contributors that our voice is not being censored. But that's what we're going to have to work on, because they are absolutely stopping black voices from being heard. If we're not singing the same song that they've been singing, they're trying to shut us up. There's a war going on. There's a battle in the sky. And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about a battle in the sky in his book, Message to the Black Man, book right behind me. Yeah, this side right here. His monumental book, Message to the Black Man. But the battle in the sky is a battle in the minds. It's a battle for the minds of our people. And in terms of the vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, those are 2-shot systems. We got 2 shots in the Nation of Islam. And they're called, like my brother Nuri said, How to Eat to Live books 1 and 2. That's the only 2 shots we taking. Because if you want to strengthen your immune system, you gotta learn how to eat to live. Gotta learn how to eat to live. Eat plenty of fruits and vegetables and drink water. Stop drinking Kool-Aid and pop. Build your immune system by going out into the sunshine and getting you some vitamin D. Taking some vitamin D3 pills and K2. Take some, anything that will strengthen your immunity. Because at the end of the day, even if you get the so-called vaccine, you still are subject to get COVID-19, to contract it. You're still liable to pass it. However, they say your symptoms will just be lessened. Well, your symptoms will simply be lessened if you strengthen your immunity. And the mathematical equation in all of this, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get up out of here, is that 99.9% of the people who get COVID-19 survive. And so that hardly constitutes an emergency. The vaccine is not getting rid of the virus. So what's the point? The virus is still going to be around. They got new strains that are coming out every single day. New strands that are coming out every single day. The virus ain't going nowhere. So strengthen your immunity instead of letting them put some unknown substance into your body. That's just my 2 cents. We can do what we want to do, and we're going to do what we want to do. But that's just our position on it. So again, before I get out, we're having a drive for Final Call Radio. So please, man, go to finalcall.com and just click on the donate button and donate so that we can keep this sort of information. Again, we have to have our own platforms because they're putting us out of these joints For real, for real, for real. So go on and donate if you can. All right, all right, all right. I told you I wasn't gonna be long, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to stop in and ask that question and answer it. That yeah, they're absolutely shadow banning people with different voices, especially black people. But before I get out of here, in the Nation of Islam in Denver, like I said, I got my suit and my tie on because I was out there selling or distributing the world famous Final Call newspaper with the mighty, mighty FOI. But everything that has to do with the Nation of Islam in Denver, please visit noidenver.org. And if you would like to make a donation, please, we would love for you to. Also, what we're trying to do is when we come out of this quarantine, we want to have our own building. We want to purchase a building so that we could establish the Nation of Islam in the city of Denver. And so you could go on, there's a shop button at our site and shop with us, and you'll see some of our little items. Here, I'm gonna give you a little commercial. Yeah, so you can go to noi.org and, like I said, either donate or purchase something out of our store, and that'll help us to, build a nation here in the city of Denver. Before I get out, I want to plug myself too. Of course, I'm attempting, of course, to represent the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a student minister or coordinator in this city. But I also own a barbershop, the world famous Supreme Style Barbershop. And you can go and schedule online an appointment at www.astar2.com if you want to. You could also, let me show you this. Your brother wrote a book. It's called How to Get Rich in the Barber Cosmetology Game Handbook. Got some interesting tidbits and business tips on entrepreneurism and, just how to run a barbershop and to be successful. I've been doing it for, 24 years by Allah's grace. So I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. But you go to astar2.com and on the homepage, there's a link for an ebook or the paperback edition. Whichever one you prefer, go ahead and support. And the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you our Supreme Style commercial, because we got some merch that we're trying to get off as well. Support. Praise be to Allah. So Sister Jessica, thank you for watching, man. I know I don't hardly have nobody on here, but it's all good. Probably because they knew what I was going to say. But no, it's Monday. I just wanted to pop in, and people will check out the rebroadcast. And if you're coming into the room again, like, love, dislike, I don't care, just engage. If you're on YouTube and they let this video play, like, share, and subscribe so that we can get this sort of information out to our people. We've got to spread the word as best we can. And know and understand, man, that in the Nation of Islam, I've been in the Nation of Islam for, over 30 years. So whether they ban me on YouTube or whatever, or delete videos, it don't matter. We're going to get it to our people the way we've always got it to our people. We just now got up on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So we're not tripping off of that. I we just wanted to stop in, say I love y'all. Miss Jessica, stop by the shop sometime. It's good to see you. I see you're doing well. We love you all. I want to say this before I get out. We're being revolutionary. We're being revolutionary by having podcasts where we tell the truth. We're being revolutionary by disseminating the world famous Final Call newspaper. But the most revolutionary thing that we can do, brothers and sisters, I'm gonna say this, is if you are a black or a brown woman, find you a black or a brown man. If you're a black or a brown man, find you a black or brown woman. Marry them. Have a beautiful marriage and family. Build a beautiful community, and it will build a beautiful nation. That's my time, man. Peace. I love you. We out. We'll see you next time. And remember, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.